Welcome to How to Take Photos of Plants Basics. This course will teach you how to take great photos of plants with just your phone. And this is important because when you're submitting photos to get identified, whether it's on Facebook groups, in iNaturalist, or sending them to the herbarium, it's really important that they're of good quality and of key features that can help the people that know what they're looking for to identify them for you. And if you ever forget how it looks, you always have a reference point. In today's basics course, we're going to cover the following topics: equipment and safety, what key features to take photos of, how to see the difference so you can take photos of the right thing, good practice when taking photos, how to take a really good photo and have a photo be in the top 1% of plant photos, situations and examples that I'm going to share with you, what to make note of when you're taking photos, how and where to get a plant identified afterwards, and what to do in the future if you're unsuccessful in having your plant identified or want to go further with this. So for today's class, all you're going to need is your phone. Any phone with a decent camera is going to be perfect. When you get out there, make sure to give it a wipe. I highly recommend these microfiber cloths. They're like $2 for 3 from Kmart and probably Walmart, places like that. But they also can be used separately as cleaning cloths, and they can clean your phone screen, they can clean your laptop screen, they can clean all your devices. They're really great for cleaning, but definitely only use it for lens and phone screens if that's what you're going to use it for. When you go out today, make sure you have a look around the ground before you start taking photos. Too many times has it happened to me that I've sat on a really spiky plant or been bitten to death by bugs and really not enjoyed the session. So definitely before you start, just have a quick look around whatever you're taking photos of and make sure there's no snakes, etc. So what are key features? Key features are elements of a plant or an item that really stand out and are often the point of differentiation between one thing and another thing. And with plants, there's about 5 areas that really stand out, and then you dive in deeper to many other areas. These 5 areas are leaves, flowers, fruits, habit, so the shape and structure of the plant, and habitat, where it is, the environment around the plant. A little tip as well is I recommend you spend 2 minutes really looking at each of these features. You might notice some odd things, some extra things, some things about it that are a bit different to other leaves, and that might be something worth taking photos of as well to help with the identification. So the focus on a camera works best when you have an image flat, or at least parallel to what you're shooting. So that way it has the largest amount of area that's in focus. This can be for your phone's autofocus or when you click on the phone screen and get it to focus on the object. It's important to keep it parallel. So if my subject is like this, you want to get your phone nice and level with the subject. If my subject was like this, well then I would rearrange to keep it like that and keep as much as possible in the focus range. The next thing is to be as still as possible. The more still you are, the better the chances you have of a really clear and crisp image, and that can really help at the end of the day. So make sure to get into a comfortable position and take a really nice photo. So my last piece of advice would be to take multiple photos of each angle. You don't need to spam it. I honestly think just 2 or 3 and you'll likely get one good one.
Hey everyone, we're outside and we're going to shoot some scenarios of what I would do if I was trying to identify this plant right here. So to start off with, I'm going to take a general habit shot. Something like that's going to do a perfect job. Now I'm going to take a photo of the leaves because the leaves are a pretty good identification point. They've also got some cool coloration, so that might help me identify this plant. Looking at the plant, the best leaves to shoot are probably these ones at the front. They're nice and flat and I can get a lot of leaves in focus with just one photo. So this time I'm going to take a photo of this, which looks to be an old fruit stalk. Nice and level. So next up, I've noticed this leaf shoot that looks pretty interesting and might help me ID this plant. So I'm going to take some photos of this. It's important to try and get parallel with the subject. And if it doesn't go into focus because it's skinny like this one, it's useful to use something in the background. Something like your hand or a leaf can really help bring the subject into focus. In this case, I have the leaf.
After you've done taking photos, it's a really good habit to get into to make some notes on the rough estimate of the height of the plant and the width of the plant. Then make a note of your geospatial location, which I will explain here.
Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to open up Google Maps and you're going to find out your location, zoom in on there, and then drop a drop pin on your location. And if you scroll down from the drop pin, here you can see your longitude and latitude.
And the name of the region you're in. So if I'm in the Girraween National Park, I'd make note of that. It seems pretty obvious, but like if you're in Wagga Wagga, then make note that you're near Wagga Wagga or in Wagga Wagga. So by making that note, you can actually help someone to eliminate a bunch of similar plants just because they're not known to be in that area or haven't been for a very long time. And before you're done with the day, just have a quick look through your photos and make sure there's at least some decent ones of all the angles you took. It'll really help you later on because it means you don't look back and you're like, oh no, I took this horrible photo that's shaky and out of focus on the wrong bush. So you've got your photos and you're ready to submit. Where should you send them and who to? I highly recommend you upload it to iNaturalist, or you can try and use PlantNet with an @ or you can use an AI plant identification app like Picture This, or you could try Facebook groups. Facebook groups come in a wide range. You can go as wide as Plant Identification, which is global, or you can try and go Plant Identification Australia, or you could go even more regional than that, and this is what I recommend, is going for something like Plant Identification Southeast Queensland. You could even try as narrow as Gold Coast Plant Identification, but it's likely that you want enough members in the group that someone will respond, but not so big of a group that they won't know the region well enough. The next place you could look is Reddit. There seems to be some active and big communities on there, so that's definitely worth a check out. And the final place is the school community that I've set up, which is called the Symbiosis Society. If you're part of this class and you sign up and you submit your photo, it's more than likely that someone might be able to help you, especially in these first few weeks whilst we're just getting started. Okay, so you're going to open up iNaturalist, make an account if you haven't already, and this is what your homepage might look like. Then you click on Observe and you have access to your photos and you add the photos that you want to upload and get identified. Hit Add. It'll create an observation and then it'll offer, what did you see? So click on what did you see? And here it'll give a suggestion based on an AI. And I'm just going to take the top suggestion because I don't know what this is in this example. And from here, you're going to be able to change the location and be able to mention if it's a cultivar or captive. And in my case, it was. And then you just hit upload and it'll upload this. And hopefully within the next day or two, I'll have someone come back and confirm my ID and maybe give it a bit more specifics as to what species it is or tell me that it's completely wrong and it might be something else. Now, I'm really confident that you're going to get your plant photo identified because your photo is probably in the top 1% of plant photos ever taken, simply because the technology we have these days is incredible and you have just learned some wonderful skills about the basics of how to take a really good photo. I hope I've helped with any questions you had, and if you haven't had an answer on your plant identification, here's a few tips to try get an answer for your photo. If you didn't get an answer, let me know that I suck in the comments down below and go to my school community and submit the photos there and let me know. I'll do my best to get back to you and help you identify it, especially if you've taken photos to the quality of what we've just been through. It should be super easy for me, so I'm excited to see if anyone does come back. The next thing you could try and do is reposting in the same Facebook group or in a different Facebook group to see if you get more luck there. Sometimes it just gets skipped through with all the amount of photos getting submitted, but definitely try to leave it a day, otherwise it's just going to continue this spammy nature of these Facebook groups. And the final thing I'd recommend is that you try out the intermediate course. There's a plant identification guarantee on that one and you'll definitely enjoy it and it'll be lots more learning and you'll get into more depth about what images you could take. You could also try retaking the photos or trying different angles and submitting different photos to the Facebook groups. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe and let me know how you go. And if you're interested, join our community. So there's 4 courses in this series. They go basics, intermediate, advanced, and then my personal course. The basics course is free and available on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and my school community. I highly recommend you go check out my school community, the Symbiosis Society. We're organizing meetups, we're doing Zoom calls, talking about different topics in ecology and plant identification, as well as there's monthly prizes and lots of other courses to learn about, so definitely go check it out. It's completely free. So which course is right for you? Well, the basics is for people who have taken very few photos of plants or are looking to get a plant identified on their property or in their garden. They're interested in learning some introductory stuff about plants and photo taking, and it is aimed completely at someone who is using a phone. Then the intermediate builds on this and learn a little bit more about plant identification and how to take really good quality photos. So this is really helpful if you still haven't had your plant identified, are interested in botany or plant identification. If you want to take nice photos to share with friends, post online, or print, or maybe it's a bit of a taste tester if you're considering pursuing a career or a hobby in nature photography, and it's mainly using a phone or very basics for how to use a camera. The intermediate, advanced, and my personal course all have an identification guaranteed or your money back. Then there is advanced, which builds on basics and intermediates, and it also is more focused at people who are using a DSLR and want to learn more about plant photography, or someone interested in pursuing plant photography or nature photography as a hobby or career. You can be a newbie to cameras or be a few years in. You might also be someone who wants to contribute to a conservation project. There's many of these around, and I actually contribute to one in New South Wales that helps document rare and threatened species. This is a great way to take really good photos and learn how to take really good photos so that you can contribute quality stuff to these organizations and projects. And finally, there's my personal course, which builds on the basic, intermediate, and advanced, brings them all together, and adds on top of it exactly everything I do and how I do it. I share my exact techniques and methods for taking the photos that you see on Instagram at Mr. Plant Identifier. It's also for anyone who's interested in making money from taking photos of nature or plants. There's a few different options you can go down here, but for example, you can contribute to databases such as my own, like MPD, and earn a bit of cash on the side. My course is also taking the advanced course and adding a few more layers and technical camera stuff to it. So if you're wanting to pursue it as a hobby or a career and take it to that next level, it could be a good direction. Or if you want to take photos that are print worthy, worth sharing on social media, or you think are beautiful and want to share with your friends and family, then this is a really great course for you too. So with all that information, I definitely think it's worthwhile you considering which course is right for you, starting where you want to, and then building on from there. And I guess talking about my own personal course is a good segment into explaining who I am and why I think I have the right to say any of this. About 5 years ago, I discovered the wonderful world of plants and became obsessed with trying to identify different plants. And from there I realized, well, if I want to identify plants, I need to be able to take photos of plants, and that developed from using my iPhone to then using a really cheap camera to now using my incredible setup that I have today. And there are other wonderful photographers out there that are fantastic at this and have lots of experience, and one day I would love to get them integrated with the community, doing their own courses and stuff like that. But yeah, I've taken over 250,000 photos. I've been really diving into this subject for 3 years straight, really not missing any days. And yeah, I absolutely love it. So I am really excited to share what I've learned in that time and through all that time spent on the subject with you guys. If you want to see the proof in the pudding and see the images I share online, you can go to Instagram at Mr. Plant Identifier. I do all this because I'm really passionate about education being the key to fixing a lot of problems in the world, and I think through education we can really encourage conservation and restoration, and I hope to achieve many of those things by educating as many people as possible. So hopefully today that is what you're going to get.